G'day, Steve Morgan from Fishing Media and ABT. Another Tackle Fridays today. Let you know a little secret. I'm actually recording this on the Thursday. Got a big boat test and a lot of stuff planned for Friday. So this was recorded on the Thursday, although I am not missing a Friday. Sometimes I do when there are tournaments on, but not this week. A lot of stuff has come into the office, a lot of stuff to talk about. Just finished the amazing, had nearly 10 days of barra fishing up at Lake Mondrian, managed to avoid Cyclone Alfred. While the cyclone was on, it was like 35, 36, 37 degrees up at Lake Mondrian. Set up for some amazing fishing. We caught 29 barra in the week. Was on my electric motor most of the week. Had a little glitch with my new Mercury, which will be fixed by the end of today. Got the experts looking at it, and I assume it will be all sweet by the Clarence ABT, which is coming on. If you watched the ABT live show on Wednesday night, though, you would have seen how generous Atomic is going to be in that event. Every single competitor, boater and non-boater, gets a free and either a flats or a crank Atomic Arrows rod. That's like 80 rods that they're giving away, to one for every competitor in the tournament. And that included in that, they're going to give you a couple of Atomic lures, and maybe even some fluorocarbon lines. So Michael Starkey, you've outdone yourself looking after the competitors in your own part of the world, which is what you always do and always do really well. I've chosen this tournament. I've shown you these rods before. These were released at after last year, but I've got a couple of the Samurai Reaction rods with the carbon fibre handles. I'm just getting them rigged up at the moment to fish that event. I've got two here, one with the smaller guide train, one with the larger guide train. Both are going to be rigged up with straight through fluorocarbon in 3 pound, paired with the TD black Daiwas. And I thought that's a great event to break them in on. It's the Atomic event. Atomic does the Samurai Reaction rods, or the guys at Froggies Offshore do anyway. And I can come back to you with some of the how I felt about using these rods. I meant to do it a little bit earlier, but it's been a really wet summer. Hasn't been good for bream fishing in my part of the world anyway. Bit overwhelmed down in Victoria, but now is the time to run those. So I've got these on the 2000 TD Black MQs, straight through fluorocarbon. It's a pretty simple solution. These are really light in your hand. I've got that carbon fibre butt. And again, if you listened in the ABT live show, Michael says there's some even higher spec ones of these coming out at after this year. So that was a bit of a scoop for him. So there you go. The Samurai Reactions are going to get a run at the Atomic event on the Clarence. This time next week, I will have finished practice and we'll be re-rigging these rods ready for the tournament day. What else is happening? Well, Nomad are into their second week. Or maybe even their third week of releasing some of the new colours, some of the new shapes, some of the new styles of their estuary and inshore hard body range. The Nomad Design tackle, it seems to be getting better and better. I think they're listening to input from both their retailers and the anglers. And let me just run through some of the baits that they've launched on their socials this week. I think last week we finished on the Chug 50, which is the really small cup face popper that you can either pop along, you can walk the dog with it. It's got all sorts of interesting different reaction styles. Well, there's a Chug 72 there as well, which I don't think is too big for bream. It's right in the hitting zone for bass, and of course for all of the estuary pelagics like tarpon and little GTs and all sorts of stuff all over the East Coast. You can throw these for. You can see a little bit in the cutaway here of the action of the Chug. I haven't actually got my hands on the Chugs yet. As soon as the whole release is finished, I'm going to go across to Nomad. I'm going to grab myself a selection of the ones in all the right colours, and I look forward to bringing to you a little bit later in the year a day or two of fishing with all of the Nomad baits. I'm pretty excited on taking some new baits onto some country that I know and seeing how they compared to the baits that I normally fish. So the Chug 72 is pretty exciting. One that I'm really excited about though is the little Riptide 58. So that's this one here, the Riptide 58. It is basically a little bit longer, a little bit shinier than the normal stick minnows that I use. And I would use this on probably 3 pounds straight through fluorocarbon. Have a little bit of an action on the drop, but you can impart action to these. If you wanted to be just a straight, slow roll with no action to tempt a wary fish, that works. If you want it to rip it and have it darting back and forth, it'll do that as well. So whether you want to fish it for bream or bass or for estuary pelagics, I really liked it. I threw it a little bit at Malakuta. You would have seen our live stream. I had it on and threw it a little bit. In that situation, to get it down to 8 feet pretty quickly was just a little bit light for that situation. But rest assured, the situation where this will shine will come shortly, and this is one of my favourites in their range. The next one is the Mad Scad. This one's a Mad Scad 78. And this is sort of along the stick minnow line as well. This is one that's nearly twice as long as the baits that I use at the moment, but there is a smaller one. There's a Mad Scad 65 coming out as well. And I don't have that one in my possession yet, but I'll just show you the theory behind those. They're quite well packed in that blister packaging in the bottom. There's the Mad Scad 65. Again, it's a lipless crankbait, a sinking bait. You can see the lead all in the bottom of it there. Super sharp BKK hooks, but a smaller version of that I think is going to hit right in the zone for the bream guys. This size here, the bass, no worries. Roll it through the schools, burn and kill it through the schools. It'll get eaten, and I'm sure the smaller one will be good for bass as well. But again, I'm really keen on trying that smaller bait, the Mad Scad 65, not the 78, for bream. So we're going to see how that goes in weeks to come. And of course, the last one, you can see some of the cutaway here on the Maverick. To me, the Maverick is an alternative to a bent minnow. Bent minnows work in and around the surface, have an erratic action. The Mavericks do the same thing. If you can get if you want to slow roll that, and a lot of the black bream guys down south like slow rolling a bent minnow, get it under the water, you can do that with a Maverick. If you want to crack it on the surface and attract the fish's attention and let it float there, it'll work like that as well. I've used it in the field a few times. I've caught a few bream on it, but I haven't had a real session where I've dedicated my time to catching fish on the Maverick. So again, during the fishing with Nomad days we will have in the future, I will bring to you some of the footage of the action of that Maverick in the water. Several sizes on them now. They've got a 68 and a 90. The slightly bigger one, probably more a bass lure than a bream lure, but the 68, which has been an established lure in their range. Looking forward to giving it a real crack on the bream. So if you're following the Nomad Tackle or the Nomad Design socials, you would have seen those come out during the week, and they have got more coming out every week. For another couple of weeks now, you will see new and exciting colours, sizes, and baits from the Nomad Tackle guys. And I don't know if any of you have seen that international launch of the Live Ops plastics, but man, they are super interesting. They're a plastic bib on the front, insertable little tungsten balls inside so you can create your own weight and your own distribution of weight, and look fantastic under the water. So I'm sure we'll get our hands on those a little bit down the track as well and can bring those to you. Speaking of more lure releases, Ryan Limpus from Tackle World Lawton reached out. Tackle World Lawton is a great ABT member retailer, and he says he has got some stock of the new Panic Stations soft plastic baits. So this is what they look like on the shelf. These were brought out by Northern Territory gun angler Shane Compain. They own a Tackle World store up at Coolalingga there. And if you know anything about the Northern Territory, Shane has been belting big fish on forward-facing sonar for a long time now, and he has developed these probably to cash in on the craze, but also to provide a bait which is out of the packet, going to be good enough for you to do that with. Now, there's a whole range of sizes. There's 4 in the range, and Ryan's given me one of each here. Ranging from the big mullet. This is quite a heavy bait, but I tell you what, look at the hardware on it. They are ready to go straight out of the box. Interestingly, all of the baits have, bang, that's a magnet in there that holds onto that hook and keeps it in place. These have super strong split rings, super strong trebles in them. Listen to this. There's a rattle in the tail that you can either leave in there or take out, but they have rattles in the tail. They're quite a thick bait. They're not a slim bait. And when I put them in the test tank, they're very, not a lot of body roll, but a lot of tail action as well. They look really natural in the water, even though that tail does look quite bulbous. So guys throwing for big fish, you're catered for. Guys throwing for teeny little fish, again, bass, flathead, little mulloway. The little one swims quite well as well. And there are 4 different sizes in between. So there's 4 sizes in total. This one here is the 5-inch. A lot of natural colours, some with the chartreuse tails that can provide a point of attack for the fish. And they have the, see here, they've got the very small, you can add the extra weights to the chin, or you can add extra hooks to the top, like a split ring in there. There's little notches there for the hooks to be added to it. So fish it as you like straight out of the box, or add whatever weights, whatever hooks you need to suit your fishing situation. you will find those panic stations, these baits at all Tackle World stores. Apparently they're exclusive to Tackle World stores. Small ones about $23, big ones up to about $35. So not the world's cheapest bait, but I think you don't have to spend any extra money on them once you've got them. So thanks, Ryan, for those. We're going to give those a go when we're scoping down here in our local waters over the next few months. Might come back to you with some pictures and some social stuff on those. One thing that we rolled out this year in ABT is our new net rules. ABT is all about releasing fish, but also having those fish survive really well. And we've identified that one of the biggest hindrances to post-release survival is split tails and split fins on fish. Now, in the bream and the bass, we have to have a small size net now, and everyone in Malakuta and Gippsland Lakes were great. We didn't find anyone that didn't have the right nets in there. Likewise for the Barra, the guys had all the EnviroNets, all the small mesh nets. The guys from Rapala brought this one across. This is a Silstar net. This is it's sort of I reckon it's a rubber coated Spectra style meshing. Very strong, doesn't stretch very much, but if you're a swooper and you like swiping that net through the water, this will be ABT compliant, but also fish friendly. I suppose one of the main considerations with the net is how easy is it to get the hooks out afterwards. I know in the small mesh nets like here, I like the EnviroNet. The hooks come out quite easily from the EnviroNet. I haven't had fantastic experiences with a lot of these Spectra rubber coated nets, but they are really good on the fish. So I'm going to enjoy giving this one a go and seeing if we can use it to treat the fish properly before we release them. Now, this is a Silstar branded net. It's got a telescopic handle. That handle locks in if you want it to lock in. I think around $60 to $65 recommended retail at your tackle store for those Silstars. That's it for Tackle Fridays today. That's what's new in the office. We'll come back to you next week with some more cool stuff.